And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another video game review. I know well, it's been a while for me since I've recorded a video game review, but haven't missed a beat with you guys. Thank you, Backlog. Today we are reviewing what people consider one of the greatest games of the last decade. Maybe one of the greatest games of all time. God of War. 2018 God of War. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that there was actually 3 or more God of War games even before this one. Yet they still called it God of War with no other prefacing thing on there at all, which just was an interesting choice, a bit of a confusing one at that. But anyway, I played it. I actually had this game back when I had PS Plus. Didn't play a whole lot of it, so getting into it now, Jeffofthemellows let me borrow it so I could see the old save file, and then I got back to playing the game, and I don't know, I didn't really have a lot of expectations going in, but I was very, very pleasantly surprised. So I got a lot of thoughts on this game. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? Alright. First off, this is an incredibly good game, by the way. Like, when I say pleasantly surprised, that doesn't even do it justice. I was so impressed with this game. There's a lot of good things that I have to say about it. Not some not so good things. This is far from a perfect game. But I do have a lot of good things to say. Let's get those out of the way first. First off, the game looks incredibly good. This is an objectively really good looking game. It is amazing. The landscapes look awesome. The characters look great. All the everything just looks absolutely incredibly good. The action sequences look amazing. The cinematics look great. I mean, it's an objectively really good looking game, which you kind of have to expect with it being a first party PlayStation title from, everything like that. It's really, really good. Really, really, really good. Another thing I was really, really happy with was the combat. I was so happy with the combat. It felt so good to battle. The battles were some of my favorite parts of the game. I love the axe. I love the blade thing. I loved just not having a weapon at all. I loved just everything about the combat. The Kratos action sequences were amazing. They did a really, really good job with those. Just really capturing how much of a brute force this guy is. And all the big battles and enemies, and the guy who can't feel pain. Those battle sequences were awesome. The bigger the enemy, the more impressive it was, and it was honestly really fun. It kind of reminded me a bit of Arkham gameplay, with kind of the strategy of really quickly needing to parry attacks or block attacks or dodge attacks, but also to really just kind of button mash a bit. Not really button mash, but really just quickly attack and do a lot of damage, that kind of thing. So I was really, really happy with that, because I really liked the Arkham combat, and I was glad. It was probably my favorite combat since playing Arkham games, so it was really good. Also, Iron Man mask cameo? What? Mimir is my favorite character in this game. He's so funny. He's an awesome comic relief character. You get to spend a lot of the game with him. And he helps break up a lot of the stupid dialogue that I will talk about later, with Kratos and his son. We'll get to the son in a minute. But it's really, really good. I really liked Mimir. He's a great character. So glad. And then the ending I also thought was very, very good. The ending is very, very good. It's the perfect wrap up for the game. Um, really, I was going in expecting a really hard, like, final boss ending sequence with like Odin or Thor or something like that. But it ends off on a cliffhanger for Ragnarok, which is a game that I definitely will play at some point. I'm very excited to play Ragnarok now. Um, so yeah, there's that. I will definitely be playing that game. But I really, really like the ending with the spreading of the ashes. I thought it was very ceremonial, done very well. I, they could have very easily fucked up the ending of this game, and they didn't. And I think it ties it in really well together, despite the setup going towards it throughout the game being done to varying degrees of good. And that's where we get to the stuff that I didn't really like about this game. It's only really a couple of things, but they're pretty significant. The first one is the puzzles. I did not like the puzzles in this game at all. Um, they were just very overly stupid, and a lot of the times it was very easy to get turned around, and it's not usually a huge deal. Well, it's a deal, but it wouldn't have been as bad. But they have always a ton of secrets to find, and a lot of the secret stuff doesn't really do much. It was like artifacts or like symbols to read or extra health. Try not to sneeze. Okay, there we go. Um, and so it really wasn't worth it. And you would get turned around, and then you would see this stuff, and you think, "Oh, this is where we need to go," and it just ended up being that, and you were so far off course. It was really annoying. And they have those little indicators to help you figure out where you need to go, because it's one of these games where, like, one point they'll establish that this is something that you can't use to progress, like you can't climb on it, you can't jump on it, you can't do anything. But then a little bit later, it is something you do, but the indicator that you can do it is always so small, and it blends so well into the landscape and the environment. It's like this tiny little white circle that blends in with snow of the same color. Why? And so you would think, oh, this isn't where the indicator is, because you didn't stand at the exact angle and look at the exact thing and fart at the right time. So then you go in 20 minutes off course and do something else, and you come back thinking, where the fuck do I need to go? So you end up looking up at a walkthrough and realizing in the last 20 minutes of your life you wasted walking around doing nothing because the little white circle didn't pop up because you didn't fart at the right time. And these puzzles, but also partially just because of how they structured the plot, there's a lot of just timing things that make it where they put that in only to extend the length of the game. Like, we're led on this wild goose chase through we think's the highest point, and then they like, oh, you gotta go to Jotunheim. Well, here comes fucking guy who can't get hurt, and somehow they manage to destroy the eternal portal to Jotunheim because Kratos can't stop trying to hurt people, and it fucks everything up. And then the kid becomes a rebellious teenager, even though he's supposed to be like 6 or something in the game. And there's that, and so he fucks everything up, and then something else fucks everything up. When we finally got to Jotunheim and we were going up to the spread the ashes and we were going through the thing, I was fully prepared for another fight. I was fully prepared for the cliff to break, us to fall away back down the mountain, and then spend the next 6 hours climbing it back up, or doing something like that. Or we have to go to fucking Helheim again, or we're gonna go to fucking Midgard again and talk to Freya for the 50th time so she can give us a stupid potion because the kid is apparently sick because something bullshit like that. Yeah, there was just a lot of points, and some of them were fine. Like oftentimes, really, the missions were fine. Like the gameplay in these weren't bad. It just, and I've gotten pretty good at recognizing when the game wants to do this, where they have to put in some filler, where it's obvious that they had the plot, the game set, realized it was so short, and then jotted in some other parts to extend it. That's what this is, and it was a little frustrating. Not super. This game's pacing though is not bad at all. It's a really good pacing actually. So I'm not. It's not a huge complaint here as it is in other games where there's a lot longer. But it's still noticeable and it's still a little frustrating. And yeah, so I was glad though. Well, there was many times where I was proven wrong. That where like I thought the plot would be extended a lot longer and it wasn't, because that's what I was prepared for and it wasn't, which was really nice. So, but now we got to talk about probably the biggest complaint about this game for me, and that's Kratos' son Atreus. I already talked about him a little bit, where the part where he becomes super fucking rebellious teenager, and then you play as the dad, and it's like this fucking symbolism for raising a child, and it's so fucking stupid. I hate it so much. That's probably the worst part of the entire game. But really, any dialogue with this kid is so cringe. And that's the point. Like, he's supposed to be bad. He's supposed to be this annoying, I want it, me, little baby. Who then just jumps in and fucks everything up because he wants to be like his dad, and the dad obviously also goes through a lot of character development. Kratos starts off as a very antisocial, uncaring father, and that's supposed to be the point, right? They're supposed to go through this character development together, and they do. Like, Kratos goes through some really good character development, and I guess the kid kind of does. I didn't really care for it because ultimately it was just really the kid getting mostly insta karma. Like, he goes on this big rebellious journey and then he ends up getting insta karma, which was really funny. And I was spoiled a little bit on Ragnarok already, so I know that most of what this kid learns goes through quote unquote character development really doesn't stick at all in Ragnarok, at least from what I've been able to perceive. So what's the point, PlayStation? Like, what's the point? And his lines are so cringe, and he has the most annoying voice in the world, and he doesn't even help that much. In fact, he really hurts the game kind of, because because anytime, like, when he starts doing the thing where he jumps on enemies, you can't attack them well. Like, I would get into a rhythm and I'd have him like at a point where I'm ready to take him out, and he would jump on him, which then fucks up the whole rhythm and I can't kill them. Or the part where he sets off the ice golem, and I had gone on the cruise, so I forgot how to do that part of the game, and so I got super fucked. I'm like, why would you do this, child, to me? And it was, it's very, very frustrating having to listen to the dialogue between Atreus and Kratos the entire fucking game, because they have zero chemistry whatsoever. Until finally, Kratos decides to open up about his life, and he tells Atreus about his identity as a god who was like this massive killer sort of thing. And the way they did that was even so anticlimactic, because I had it all thought up that it's gonna come out. He's gonna be told about it, and Kratos is gonna have to reveal it, and the kid's not gonna like it. He's gonna run away, and it's gonna be a whole side plot thing. It's gonna take the next 6 hours of gameplay. He just reveals it, and the kid's just like, what? The kid reveals it, and he has no reaction whatsoever. And then he's like, and then like 5 minutes later, he's like, I've got so many questions. In fact, fucking Mimir had more questions than Atreus did. Kratos is like, yeah, you're part god and also part giant. And this is Atreus' reaction. It was like the only part that they were point of the game where they were able to shut the kid up. Meanwhile, Mimir's like, what? What? You're related to a god and he's a giant? Oh, I have questions. Zeus. I got so many questions. Questions. And Mimir Atreus is like this. What the fuck? So that didn't make any sense. I didn't like Atreus in this game. Yes, Jeffofthemellows told me that he gets better in Ragnarok. I don't believe that at all. But I want to play the game for myself to find out. And I will definitely be playing Ragnarok, like I said. In fact, I've got the other 3 God of War games that came out before this game behind me right now. In fact, I'm going to record the review for God of War 1 after this. Because, yeah, and then I got 2 and 3 as well. So, in fact, you're probably already seeing streaming footage for God of War 3, because I'm going to stream that game too. But, that in mind, my final score for God of War 2018. This is an easy 8 out of 10 game for me. Really, I want to put it at 9. I actually really want to put it at 9. I'm going to put it at 9. A soft 9. Let's go 8 point. Actually, let's go 8.5. 8.5. Like I said, the puzzles are annoying. The kid is unbearable to listen to. But otherwise, the game is absolutely spectacular. This game will definitely be in my top 25. Where it'll be, I don't know. But it will definitely be in my top 25. And this also means that I've now played all 3 of the big 2018 Game of the Year contenders. Spider-Man, Red Dead 2, and God of War. So which one's my favorite? I don't know. All 3 games are spectacular. I loved Spider-Man, obviously, and I probably have to say that one. If I had to say one, I'd probably say Spider-Man. But God of War, incredible. And Red Dead 2, also incredible. So it's a really tough decision. But if I had to say, I'd probably say Spider-Man. But why should I have to choose? Because I guess because this is my job. I make the content. But anyways, yeah, that's going to do it for this review. Really love God of War. And what do you guys think of this game, though? I'd love to know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. That's going to do it for this video as well. Stay tuned for much more amazing content, including more game reviews and other awesome stuff. And until next time, see you guys later. Goodbye.